Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We hope you're keeping very, very safe and well. Thank you so much for joining us for instant reaction to Tottenham Hotspur back at the top of the Premier League. No, it's not Nuno. Yes, it's Antonio Conte. Don't be panicking at all. We're joined by three great guests on the Last Word on Spurs, two returning, one debutant, as we reflect on Tottenham Hotspur, as I keep on saying, back at the top of the Premier League on day one. Let's bring in tonight's guest, the panelist talking us through Tottenham, well, toppling the Saints, and as I keep on saying, going top. I said it 3 times in the space of 30 seconds, so please forgive me. Joining me, co-host as always, co-host tonight, we've got the wonderful Lee McQueen in the house. Lee, how are you?
Absolutely buzzing, mate. Hello, Ricky, Tobi, crackers, the listeners, the viewers, the top of the league. Arsenal's got all or nothing. They're going to end with nothing. And Spurs are going to end with all of it.
What an intro. Should we just stop the count there? Forget the league table. Stop the count there. We just end right there. I see McQueen already on fire on day one of the opening of the Premier League season. Joining Lee McQueen, again, one of our other co-hosts of the show, the wonderful Richard Cracknell's in the house. He hasn't stopped smiling since full time, probably since half time. Rich, how are you? What a performance.
Ricky, okay, mentally, the show starts now, okay? Okay, mentally, boys, we are doing the podcast now. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Bring the cones. Bring the cones out. Bring the cones in the earbuds.
Enough of that nonsense, Rick.
That was louder than Arteta's speakers.
Listen, what a day. What a day. What a day. Rick, bringing the main man, Tobi, because like we've got hours to talk about this. So listen, what a start. What a start. More of that to come. Over to you, Tobi.
What a start to the show. Delighted to be making his debut. Listen, we've been tracking him for a while. Finally got him on for his debut. What a time to make your debut on Last Word on Spurs. We've got the brilliant Tobi. Tap in, Tobes. Got his own YouTube channel. Some great content over there. Tobes, love you on Last Word on Spurs. Not a bad debut.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. And as I said before I jumped on, I said behind the scenes how like this is a podcast I've actually followed over the years, and it's good to be here. And it's even better to be here because the football season's back now, and most importantly, Spurs have been off to a flyer, man. Off to a flyer. Great result today, right in front of the home support as well. Conte in the hot seat, 4 goals scored. Listen, it's a couldn't have asked for a better start to the season.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of your army here, it seems, by Tobes. Lots of love coming through for you on the comments here. Lots. They followed you from the game, I reckon. They followed you from the game onto the show. So there we go. What a show we've got in store. We must quickly mention, of course, a shout out to our sponsors of this evening, Beavertown. That is the Beavertown bang opposite your South Stand. We're very excited to getting back down there for some amazing screenings of all Spurs televised away games. Currently, I don't believe I'm saying this, Lee's in Spain, Crackers is in Spain. I'm in the UK. James is in the UK. We will be getting down there. We're hoping to have, like I say, a live show coming your way in the near future. Keep your eyes peeled. We're really looking forward to that. Of course, all the pre-match DJing, playing the great songs, the Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. McQueen's on them. You'll see him on the Laser Crush. I'm sure at some point, probably on a bit of the Gamma Rays is the way it's going here. If we're top of the league,
on the Gamma. Jason's on the Gammas earlier today. Don't you worry about that. Check out Twitter at Last Word on Spurs, THFC 1976, and of course at Beavertown. He's on the Gammas. Don't you worry about that.
Book your spot for any televised away game. Of course, Chelsea next week. You can go to their website of www.beavertownbrewery.co.uk/pages/corner pin. No more forward slashes, but / Tottenham are top of the bloody league on day one. And let's go straight into it. Tobes, let's start with you. Let's start with a debutant. 4 goals scored without Kane or Son. A goal and assist, or 2 assists combined from our wing backs, who probably are, if we're being real, probably our second choices on paper, you'd say. But that's mostly without Basuma, I have to add, without Richarlison, who was suspended. And the thing as well is it could have been even more. I know it points to Chelsea next week, but what a start to the opening day.
Yeah, man, it was a brilliant start. I think there was a lot of concern amongst sections of our fan base because they're looking at the team. You're like, oh wow, we've signed 6 players, but none of those six players are starting for us today. What's the point? Are we going to struggle? We lost to Southampton last season. Are we going to lose this season? And in my head, like I said earlier on, I had no doubts whatsoever Spurs were going to win today. I think last season was last season. It was a terrible performance because that team that played Southampton last season was good enough to beat Southampton last season. We just didn't perform. It was never going to be an easy game, but if we played to our maximum level, we could have made it an easy game. And I think that's essentially what we did in most parts of that second half. I felt like it was good for the entire fan base to see that the team of last year that finished last season can still do a job for Conte this season. It was good for them to see that we can still batter teams with playing Chicken Royale, with playing Ryan Sessegnon, with playing Højbjerg, who loads of people don't like. Like, we can beat these teams whilst playing some of these players, and then we can, if we can do that to Southampton with some of these players that people don't rate, imagine what we can do to teams that we play where we actually have the players that people do rate that we've signed. So that was my biggest takeaway from it. It's a squad game this season. It's a squad game this season. We're going to be playing 4 competitions, and it's good to see that the team that finished last year can dismantle or dispatch Southampton the way they did today.
Absolutely. I mean, he was Chicken Royale. I feel like he does need to have some form of an upgrade based on his performance back end of last season, this season.
It was all right today.
Yeah, well, I must go to Rich. I mean, Rich, if he was Chicken Royale, surely you've got an analogy for me. What can we upgrade him on now if he's gone from a Chicken Royale? What can you give me quickly as a pun to upgrade him?
He's almost Wagyu steak, isn't he? I mean, like, and that's the thing now. If you're a player in this team, Rick, you've got to be on your straps. You absolutely have to be on your straps. The levels have gone up, like, just crazy amounts, absolutely crazy amounts across all the positions. Now, the wheat from the chaff is going to be seen. So if you're not pulling yourself up to your absolute best, you're out, you're gone, you're finished. And this isn't players in comfort zones anymore because there was nobody behind them. Nearly every position now in that team has got somebody putting a fire up their backside. If you're not good enough, I'm coming in and I will take your place. Nick Carey, Casino Royale.
There we go.
It is. It really is. Now it's all about, you will just see players, if they're not up to it, going to be exposed. And that's going to push every player that extra 10, 15, 20%. And this is what Conte has now brought in, is a Royale with cheese. Exactly that. I do love me a bit of Pulp Fiction. That's a great film, by the way. Conte, Rick, I've been going to the lane, as you well know, since 76, 77. And, you know, I've seen how many managers in that time.
You don't look old enough, Crackers, to do that.
I know. Look at that hair. Look, I have been there. Trust me. 76, 77, I've been going since. And you know what? Glenn, as you know, I love and I work with, and he's my favourite ever player. Conte's above him as a manager. He's above everybody. Now, for me, Conte is equal with Keithy Birkinshaw. Equal with him. And he only needs to put a trophy in the cabinet and he goes above Keith for me. He even begins to go above Keith. That's how much I love this man. He just oozes winning mentality. He oozes class. He just, like, the whole feel around that team and circumstantially the club itself. It's just like everybody has become Antonio Conte. When he signed, Rick, what did I say to you and in the shows? Everybody has got to raise their level to be Antonio Conte. From the tea lady, the washrooms, everybody's got to buy in and become Antonio Conte. And you know what? It's heading that way. It feels like it's heading that way. And I think this season, if he does bits and he wins something, then wow, I think we are looking. I mean, listen, Bill Nick's like God level, but I think he goes to just behind Bill Nick as a manager.
I can tell you,
I'm loving it.
I can tell you, Crackers is the sober one here, not Lee.
Absolutely loving it. I'm just loving the mentality he's bringing to the club, Rick. Was it about 2-3 shows ago? Sorry, I was struggling for the words of that arrogance. It was almost arrogance. We went 1-0 down today, but under so many managers before, you'd go, "Oh, we're in for a right afternoon here. This is like this." Yeah. Under Yole, you'd go, "Oh, that's it, game over. See you later." Today, we go 1-0 down. Not even the pulse don't even raise, Rick. You just think to yourself, "Oh, okay."
That is what the top teams do, isn't it? I mean, the top teams can stay focused on their target, regardless of what is in their way or what the predicament they're in, and find a way to win. And
it's like a winning mentality, almost an arrogance that Man U used to have, that Arsenal used to have. And all of a sudden, Tottenham, I've never known it. We almost have that arrogance. Please, whoever was watching last time, there was a word for it. I didn't know it. I'm not a word man. I'm from Hackney. I can barely read. But like there is a word for it. And we've just got that winning mentality now. There's just that arrogance. It's not even chutzpah. It was not even resilient. Somebody put it up.
We're going to go count that now, aren't we, at this rate?
Yeah, it was just, So that's what I'm loving to see, Rick, is just that winning mentality with us now. All right, go 1-0 down, don't matter, because we'll come back and we'll smash it for 4.
Yeah, carry on. It's remarkable. I mean, Lee, coming around to you. I mean, I feel like today there's the blue book. Right,
there it is.
Lee saved the blue book. You know what's going to do the blue book. That today feels like a glimpse of what this season could be like potentially. I know it's only day one, but the fact that none of Antonio Conte's signings even started the game, you have to just remember that. And, clearly what I love is the effect it's having on the players like Sessegnon, Kulusevski, making those signings, bringing everybody the competition they need to fight for their places. And again, when you think that Spurs are also 12 consecutive Premier League games without conceding more than one goal, this has got a Conte team written all over it, hasn't it, Lee?
Absolutely. I totally agree with Tobes. I totally agree with Crackers. And the listeners and the viewers as well. A Royale with cheese. I thought he was outstanding today. All the dripe that he gets, all the rubbish that he gets, got to get rid of him, some of the people need to have a look at themselves on Twitter. I've seen so much stuff about Harry Winks this week, about giving up his number and he's a joke, he's a disgrace, don't give his number. Are you having a laugh? This guy came through our academy, for example. Like, have some respect on the guy's name. Okay, so he might not have made it. He might not be the best player in the world, but have some respect for him. And the same with Royale. I thought Royale tonight was absolutely a Royale with cheese. And you're right. 8 shots on target tonight. 18 shots in total. 550 passes. 58% possession. I mean, this is a transition from Jose era of hardly. Oh, here we go. The new graphics are up. Oh my gosh, I'm loving it. 4-1. Talk to me. 18 shots on goal. 8 shots on target. I mean, just to put that out there, if you have 7, 8, 9 shots on target every game, you're going to win football matches every single week. And even going 1-0 down, like Tobi said, like Cracker said, I don't know what it is, Rick, if it's an arrogance or what. I didn't feel like we was going to lose that football match at all. Yep. Yeah, okay, we had a couple of yellow cards, but 10 corners, 58% possession, XG. I'm a bit old for this.
XG but you look at the comparison between that and Southampton's. In terms of the chance creation, there, it's remarkable. 10 corners from Tottenham, a side that now are believing in set pieces, creating chances. The fouls are up there, probably primarily down to Romero, really.
Yeah, for sure. And you look at XG, like 2.03, like we expected to score at least a couple of goals based on the statistics and based on where we're at. And we did that. And we could have had more as well, to be fair. I mean, we've hit the inside of the post. I think we've had one offside as well. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of scoring a goal. So we were there. I put a silly prediction out before the game of 6-1, and we were near enough there. I kind of knew that we'd concede, Rick, to be honest, but that's not a reflection on the defence. I thought Eric Dier was outstanding. That was his first goal since May 2019. And that is a stat out of the blue book, but of care of Ewan Martin as well, like one of my boys. So, look, I think that everything that we did today was a touch of, I don't want to say a touch of class. I want to say a touch of Conte. Can I say that? It was just everything to do with what we did was a touch of Conte. And I am getting carried away. I'm not going to say that I'm not getting carried. I am. I genuinely am. And I think that tonight we're top of the league. And I remember the great Ozzy Ardiles, who was it was his birthday just a week gone. Another Leo, love a Leo, by the way. It's my birthday next weekend. And you know, I remember once he said, "Tonight my Spurs are fifth," when he was a manager, and we had like 5 attackers playing every week. And tonight we're you know, the league table don't mean nothing for the first probably 6-7 weeks or whatever. But you know, to have a bit of a laugh about it, the reality is no one else has scored 4 goals apart from us so far. And Liverpool have already dropped points, and it's very, very exciting. I thought that Kulusevski or Deki, I thought was absolutely outstanding. Somebody's already said in the comments, so I can't give you credit because I forgot. You know, they zoomed up, but I think he's the best 22-year-old in the Premier League. I genuinely do. I think he's going to be an outstanding player.
And his first full season to come as well. I mean, to say the stats out there for Kulusevski, you know, 4 players have been directly involved in 15 plus goals in 2022. Harry Kane, 21. Heung-min Son, 21. Kevin De Bruyne, 17. Kulusevski, 15. There's 3 Spurs forwards in there. It is remarkable. It really, really is. And I mean, Tob's already kind of touched upon the fact that we'll go back to the stats in a second, guys. Don't worry, we'll bring them back up. But, you know, when we talk about a best possible start, we've mentioned Kulusevski, arguably man of the match. Sessegnon and Bentancur, also very impressive. I'm so pleased for Sessegnon because, for me, I've always said I see this spark in him. I don't know why, but I can see something about him. And maybe today, the penny's finally dropping. I think Perisic being there as a guide to him is going to massively help him long term. I think it really, really is. And if he's already rubbed off him in the space of, 6 or 7 weeks, it's there for all to see. But I don't know whether you agree, Toby. At the moment, the team, they just look so much fitter, you know, hungrier, coherent. I mean, everybody was laughing at the fact what Conte did to them in pre-season. But, you know, the argument is it could have actually been more today. We know we've got Chelsea up next. We're going to really see where Spurs are. But do you agree, Toby, look at them in the fresh as you was there at the stadium today? We look so much fitter as a team already, and we're only day one.
Yeah, definitely. I do think there was sort of a relentlessness in our play for the most part today. I felt as if there was way too much made of our pre-season, because our pre-season, in my opinion, was for us to get ourselves fit, match fit, get ourselves as a team up to the physical condition that Antonio Conte was happy with, and also to sort of get some of our new signings accustomed to the way we play. Unfortunately, we weren't able to share out as many minutes as we wanted to for our new signings because they had injuries, COVID, etc., etc. But I feel like today you could already see that we were reaping some of the benefits of Antonio Conte's grueling sessions as well. I just felt as a team like we were in control, and I think that's one of the things that people criticize Spurs for, where we've had players in the past that didn't allow us to maintain control of a match. Well, you watched it today against the Southampton team that we didn't have any sort of control against last year, and we were by far and away the better side. Like, we dominated possession, we wanted the ball, we had some really good passages of play, we sliced them open with ease, we had key individual performances, and like you mentioned as well, like, I'm not Ryan Sessegnon's biggest fan, I'm not Emerson's biggest fan, but we had even players that have not been as good for us in the past. They came to the fore today. And I feel like if that's what is the expectation, and if that's what we have in store for us this season, then that can only make us stronger as a team, because we've essentially signed better players to these guys. So if you're telling me that we have these guys that are going to give us something this season, and we have the better players to still gel into our team, it can only bode well for us.
Absolutely, yeah. I must just say, it's funny, isn't it, when Spurs win, how quite our listener questions are. Now, I think Rich will notice, I said to Rich, during the Chelsea games, we had about 70, 80 questions coming in per show. Spurs win today, we get 6 in. Isn't it a difference when Spurs win? So of those 6, they're more statements than questions. We'll read some of them out, only right to do so. Adam Pearce says, how wonderful is it to not start a single new signing and still have that kind of performance? Damon Aggersberg says, how much of my kids' college fund do I need now, lads? I should put it on Spurs winning the league. Alex at ARWMJC, what a mouthful that is. We look great, and Son and Kane didn't have great games, in for a great season. Matt Martin says, can't believe I'm going to say this, but I cannot wait for Chelsea next week. I know Crackers and Lee also echo those thoughts. Things are changing around here. Aya at Lane THFC says, how good were Emerson, Seth, Davis and Dier today? Unbelievable. Bullen Kazali says, hands up who was scared when we went 1-0 down. I got this, I wasn't scared. I don't know if you boys agree. Do you know what? Even with Southampton going 1-0 up, I feel like Tottenham were in the tendency, in control. I think it kind of tells you about a side that's really changing the mentality under Antonio Conte. It really, really is. Rich, to stick with you after the game, Hassan, who actually spoke first in the presser, he said they're a strong side. They are playing for the Champions League and titles. You could see the strength of the team all over the park. Players like Richarlison are not even playing today. Quality everywhere. I mean, we're getting managers, Rich, come out opposition, talking about Spurs in this caliber where this would normally be teams that are winning the title. Is that nice to see managers now, Rich, giving Spurs the ultimate respect?
Well, when you get comments like that, and fair play to him, by the way, for wearing a Gareth Southgate waistcoat this evening. I have to say, it was quite a look, wasn't it? There's Antonio Conte just in his slacks, in his black polo. He's just looking every inch, and then there he is in his waistcoat. Listen, when comments come out like that, other managers listen. And if he's saying those sorts of things, like literally what he's saying is, we just couldn't live with Tottenham today. We could not live with them at all. It was a diplomatic way of saying that. And a lot of football is psychology. It's 80% up here, Rick, 20% of what you do. So there's a hell of a lot of that league now that are not going to want to play us, that are not going to look forward to playing us. And again, that goes back to what I was saying at the top of the show. That arrogance, that winning mentality. I think we're going to go into a lot of games this season where the opposition players are more or less 1-0 down in their heads. They know what's coming. They can just see what's coming at them. And that psychology means a lot. It's a hell of a lot. I'm not saying we can win the league this year. That's a big ask. But there's a lot of those games where we was losing them or drawing them that now we can turn into wins. And if you can do that, that's extra points on the board. So honestly, yeah, if you've got opposition managers praising you like that, that will resonate around other managers. They all listen to what each other has to say. And I mean, that's more or less Southampton coming away from there today, broken. Absolutely
on
broken.
Day one, despite going ahead, despite leading the game.
Yep. Day one, it's like, we can't live with that. We've got no chance of living with that. That's basically what he said. He's just said it in a very different way. We can't come here and get a result. Now, the rest of the league that are around Southampton are now going to hear that. And when they come to us, that's in their head, Rick.
Yeah.
That's in their mind, that they cannot live with us. So when you look at it, that's like 9-10 teams already broken before they come to us. Yeah. So now the big thing for us, Rick, is next Saturday. This is what Jason, one of our own, Jason McGovern, was saying.
Sunday,
don't worry about the Southampton game.
Yeah.
It's next week. It's next week. If
Head
you
down.
go and throw a marker down next week and you go to the bridge and you break that psychological hoodoo and you go there and get a result, wow. I'll hand you over to Lee because Lee unfortunately married into a bit of a Chelsea family. His father-in-law's Chelsea. Lee, I'll give it to you to tell everybody what your father-in-law said to you today.
He's worried. I'm telling you, he's worried. He's a season ticket holder at Chelsea, and in 20 years under Abramovich, like, they're never worried about Spurs, and he's worried. And you know, I've seen a lot. Look, I think let's put it into context, right? With the greatest respect, I actually really like Ralph Hasenhuttl. And I actually quite like Southampton. Poch obviously came from there, and Wanyama, and so on and so forth.
Of a feeder club.
Yeah, look, they didn't. No, I mean, look, they didn't. They were bottom 5, bottom 6 team, weren't they? Let's
We've got to put it into context. Yeah, this isn't the test today. Yeah, we know that. Yeah,
context. But what I love about what we did today, again, 8 shots on target, the ruthlessness, the possession. Like we had full control of the game. Like, come back with the stats, and we had full control of that game. Them statistics that you can see on your screen there. For the listeners that are listening right now. 18 shots on goal, 8 on target, 3 yellow cards, 2 offsides only, 10 corners, 58% possession, expected XG 2.03 from Tottenham. And when you look at the Southampton stats, I mean, they're way down, 42% possession, only 2 shots on target. And obviously one of them they scored, and it had to be of course Prowse. But the reality is they are like I say, a bottom 5, bottom 6 team, but we're ruthless, and this is what we got to do. This is why I predicted that we would score a few goals against them today and beyond. Like, going to Chelsea is, I mean, it must be our hoodoo ground. Like, I don't know if anyone agrees with that or not.
No, I agree. I agree.
Absolutely awful. Like, it's on my birthday. Next Sunday is my birthday, and we're going to Stamford Bridge. I mean, it's like literally probably one of the worst fixtures we can have. But after the way they've started and the way they are, and after the way we've started and what we've done in the transfer window so far, we have to go there with confidence. And I think we can probably. Well, look, Conte said this last season. I'm going to repeat it. If you can't win the game, don't lose it. And
absolutely,
I think that will be the mentality of us going into Chelsea next week.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, I know you're obviously the blue book is still existing. It's still here. Obviously, this is almost like an escalation of the blue book. Based on those stats, Lee, in terms of the XG itself, I mean, how much is that impressive? The fact of our creation of chances, because ultimately with Spurs, they've always somehow struggled to beat some of the lower half teams. Last season, Brighton we've struggled with. Southampton, of course, we struggled with last season. We're already 3 points up, better than we was last season. We're only on day 1 as well.
Well, I mean, that's really interesting. You look at that. I mean, what did we get last year? We got 71 points for the season after sacking our manager and whatever, November the 3rd, and Conte coming in. We still managed to get 71 points. Our record points total was 86, and we lost 12, 13 points from ridiculous situations like Burnley away, Southampton at home, Southampton away against 10 men as well. We only drew 1-1. Wolverhampton Wanderers at home as well. And like you just said, we've just picked up 3 points against the team that we lost against last season. So, when you start looking at where we're going to get these points from, this is the point. Excuse me, that was a double point thing. But this is the point. This is the reality, is that people go, oh, you can't ever 15, 16 point swing. No, you can. Like, you absolutely can do it. And the reason why you can do it is because you can improve on the results that you didn't get last year. So let's improve. Let's see if we can get a draw against Chelsea, or a win against Southampton, or a win against Chelsea, and a win against Liverpool, because we didn't get that last year. Does that make sense? So, yes, you still have to maintain what you did. A win against Arsenal at home, and all of the results that we got. A win against Leeds, etc. But actually start to improve on the results that you didn't get. I think we lost 6 games. This is out of the blue book. It's fresh out of the blue book. No graphics for this. The blue book is still here. But we lost 6 games under Antonio Conte last season. 6 games after he come in. With the mentality that we've got, with the pre-season we've got, with the signings that we've got, I can't see us losing 6 games throughout the season, let alone after 28 games, which is what we did with Conte. So it's a massive, massive shot in the arm for us, and to get off to a winning start is perfect. But it looked idyllic at Spurs. I know, Tove, you were there today. Obviously, I'm in Spain, so I weren't now. The sun was shining. It looked absolutely idyllic, and it was a perfect scenario for us. It was the first time Tottenham kicked off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday for something like 3 years, courtesy of Jonathan Gill, I think.
December 2019, Lee. December 2019. Tottenham 5, Burnley 0 when Son scored that crazy Puskás winning goal. That was the last time we had a Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff.
Crazy. It's crazy. I mean, after the game, Antonio Conte said we are working to implement our football knowledge, and we've seen today a team with 7 months of work at its back. I can now go in another step on that. So I think Conte there really emphasising the point that for him, I want to say that word. I think there has been a slight mentality shift with Tottenham. I think we can sense that as fans now around. I mean, again, as we've all agreed on here, when Spurs went 1-0 down today, I know there's that DNA of Spurs fans, all of us that think, oh, God, are we going to come back? But there just seems to be at the moment a different feeling around the club, a feeling like a big club where you go one down, don't panic, keep your head, stick to the game, stick to the playbook, and we'll come through it. And that's exactly what Spurs did. And what we will just do, we will just go for our first break of the show for our listeners that are on audio. For our watching audience on YouTube, there's on a Saturday night special, about 800, 900 of you watching us live here. So thank you so much, as always, for all of your incredible support for Last Word on Spurs. We're joined by the brilliant Lee McQueen, the wonderful Richard Cracknell, and debutant, and he's getting lots of love already, the brilliant Tobi, Tap In Tobes, known very much on YouTube. Does some great content. Make sure you check him out. His links will be below in our YouTube audio description. Now, you've been asking when they're coming back. Well, guess what? They are back at Last Word on Spurs. We are delighted to be sponsored by NordVPN. You've been waiting for it. They are back. Nord, of course, they're a virtual private network. And I think for all of us at some point during our time of using Nord, they've saved us in many, many different ways. We call them the Harry Kane of VPNs, with the incredible strength and security of Christian Romero. Now, I'll let you into a little story of mine. Quite embarrassing, this. We were away in the summer. The boys know this. And wanted to watch Love Island. So, we're in Greece. There's no Love Island ITV. You can't get ITV2 in Greece in the sticks.
No idea.
What have I done? I've got my Nord. I've changed the location settings. I'm back in the UK, and I've got Love Island. Now, that is quite embarrassing. Number one, if you're not a Love Island fan, sorry about it. I've let loads of people down. If you are a Love Island fan, well, you've bloody enjoyed it over the last 7-8 weeks, so well done to you. But of course, with Nord as well, you can change your location settings where you can get all different varieties. You can get YouTube for the cost of, I think, very, very cheap, 70, 80p. If you switch to Argentina, there's lots of Spotify you can get it cheaper for. And as always, we try to look after our viewers on Last Word on Spurs here. You can get an exclusive discount with Last Word on Spurs. So use the code LWOS to get yourself a huge discount. If it isn't for Love Island, go and make it worth for, I think, underwater volleyball, what Jason McGovern watches, or some kind of Olympic tiddlywinks maybe of the championships. So NordVPN, go and check them out. Now, we are going to dive into yet another graphic on Last Word on Spurs. We're going high-tech here on Last Word on Spurs. We're going to talk about the team lineup from today. So, Antonio Conte.
Rick, just a minute, Rick. I am absolutely loving these graphics. They are Monday Night Football. You've absolutely smashed it out of the park with these graphics. Well, I will let you into a little secret.
We've actually got to edit manually the player numbers. Now, I can tell you by the end of the season, based on Jason McGovern, I'll be telling you the player number before I even tell you the player, because you've actually got to know the player number to enter it in to make sure it's correct. So, I tell you, it's a lot of work to do it, but we do love it on Last Word on Spurs. We're going Graphic Express here. Talking about the team, of course, Antonio Conte, it was a very familiar looking side to the one that obviously secured Champions League football back end of last season. Tobes, we'll start with you. It was just the one change to that final team, the last day of the Norwich game. Conte said ahead of the game, he said, I thought our squad was really poor to reach a place in Champions League. It was a big achievement. So today, I prefer to start with the same when he was referring to the lineup. He also wanted to say, I'm not surprised because I think I use my common sense. He says before explaining that why it was not their time to start in reference to some of the new players. So the Spurs team read from left to right. We got Hugo Lloris. We had a back three of Christian Romero, Dier, Davis, Emerson, of course, along with Sessegnon. Then we had a midfielder, Højbjerg, Benson, Core. Then our forward line of Kulusevski, Kane and Son, with a bench of Forster, Doherty, Spence, Sanchez, Longley, Perisic, Basuma, Hill, Lucas. Literally our bench full of the new signings. Tobes, as you can see on the screen here, listeners and audio obviously heard the team. What did you make of the team overall? Was you happy with it when it first came out?
I mean, I'm not really happy when I see the likes of Emerson and Sessegnon in the lineups. As I said, I've made no secret of the fact that I don't really rate these guys highly at all. And if I'm being honest, I do think the club need to move on Emerson in my opinion. But I knew Emerson was going to start because I felt like obviously Spence, he's 21, he's just joined our team. He still needs to get used to what Conte wants from him as a right wing back. And I feel like Emerson and Doherty are already ahead in that respect. They've been playing under Conte for the last, like 9-10 months now. So they are aware of what he demands from his wing backs. Sessegnon, the same as well. I felt like Perisic, he hadn't played as much as Cesc during pre-season, so I felt Cesc would start. And I think this is a big season for Cesc because he's got the nod over Reguilon. He's got the nod over Reguilon now, so it's going to be him and Perisic on that left-hand side. So we needed to see some improvement. So I'm happy with their performance. Today. I felt Emerson started really well and then sort of tailed off a little bit, but I thought like he had a game that I can look back on his compilation and be happy with, because he's gonna put out those compilations. But yeah, I felt Sessegnon was really good today. I thought Cesc showed us a lot of what he showed us towards the end of last season. Last season in the stretch, the last 3-4 appearances, he played really well. I like the fact that defensively Sessegnon was strong today and going forward, making really good runs into the box. When the ball comes from the left-hand side, he needs to be attacking that box. And I felt he did that really well today. There was a goal he scored that was ruled out offside. It was a brilliant goal, brilliant finish on his weaker foot as well. Those are the type of moments that I want to be seeing from Sessegnon. And if he can give us more moments, more performances like today, then listen, I'm never going to have an issue with him again. But for me, the star of the show today was Kulusevski, number 21. He was the Ginger Prince, man. He was fantastic. I saw the starting lineup for Southampton, and I saw Gineppo on that side. I saw Salisu on that side. I said, "Yep, listen, if I'm Kulusevski, I'm going at these guys all game because I think." More so to Gineppo than to Salisu, that he can get some joy. And boy, did he get some joy. He was fantastic. Every single time he got the ball, he was looking to run at them. When he'd come to get the ball to feet, he could go past players. When he was making runs beyond the defense, he was just causing them all sorts of problems. He got the vital assist for Sessegnon as well. He scored his goal today, and he was rampant. He was absolutely unbelievable. He's only 22 years old. He's only 22 years old, and he, in the absence of Harry Kane and Son today, in terms of their usual performances, because they did play, but Kane for me was quite poor, and Son, he had an okay game. But the main important aspect I'm making here with Kulusevski is we had our two best players off it in terms of what we usually expect from them, and he carried that attack. And not only did he carry that attack, as a team, we were able to score 4 goals. Richarlison is still yet to be added into this team as far as the competitive fixtures are concerned. And then, sorry, long-winded, but my last shout out today, I want to shout out the obvious Dier. He played well today, but for me, the second best player on the pitch today was Bentancur. Silky midfielder. Absolutely. He was brilliant. He was every single time he got the ball, whether it's 1 touch, 2 touch, he would always make smart, clever passes that could take us forward in the pitch. There were a couple of times where the pitch was quite congested, and he would always find these gaps to find the ball to the likes of Højbjerg, to the likes of Kulusevski, and then off the ball, he was fantastic today. Even there was one run he had, I think it was like the 78th, 79th minute before he got substituted. I can't remember. I think it's Kyle Walker-Peters that's making a run on the right-hand side, and he sprinted, made a crunching slide tackle, and he's won the ball back. He was brilliant today. Absolutely brilliant. And I think he's a player that deserves more credit from neutral fans than I think he's got, because he's been a breath of fresh air for us in that midfield. He's been fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah, giving us the insight there. He is the reason that we are playing on Wednesdays. Lee, actually sticking with you.
Just quickly on that, I totally agree. I think Bentancur was silky today, wasn't he? There's a touch of class about him. There's he can get in situations where he might lose a ball or whatever, but there's a touch of class, or one touch of class about him that is very, very impressive. Decky was my man of the match as well today. I completely agree, but I think Bentancur was right behind him. To be fair, I thought he was superb today.
I think again, it's another one though. It's quite underrated from outside of Spurs fans. If you said to people, well, again, that people are acknowledging the fact that these two players helped Spurs get Champions League last season, but I think overall, when you draw up the top 10 midfielders in the Premier League, I don't think he even gets a mention in there. Now, I'm not saying obviously he's in the top 4 or in the top 5, but I think certainly when you look at the contribution he's provided, he's been superb for Tottenham.
For sure. I mean, you look at Decky, going back to what Tobi said earlier, right? You look at Decky, one of our own, Frankie, one of our own, the last one on Spurs. He said, this guy is going to be the best ever player at that age in the Premier League. I think he already is. I agree. 22. Yeah. This guy's got everything. And what I found really interesting about today was that I kept doing this earlier when you guys were talking about the wing backs. The wing backs kept coming in. Now, if Royale had it over this side, Sessegnon was there, and you saw that for the goal, like coming in direct, coming in with a header, and vice versa. I know Royale didn't finish, and he didn't have that kind of quality about him on the finish, but they were coming in. Like, if you look at the patterns of play that Conte is working with, and this is why it was so important to have that pre-season, that kind of playbook of play, or the patterns of play that Conte's got. The wing backs are coming into the box. There's 4, maybe 5 white shirts at any one time in an attack in the box, and that is so different to how we were playing, for example, under Jose. I don't want to make a comparison, but under Jose, we'd have like one person in the box on the counter attack. Like now, we've got almost flooding the box. Are you with me, Rick? So 4 or 5 players coming in, and then wing backs are absolutely critical to that. Yeah. I thought Decky was outstanding. I also thought Decky today, I noticed, I don't know if you agree, viewers and listeners, but he kept coming inside as well. Like he wasn't staying outside, then just coming back in on his left and putting in, and he scored like that. But he's also coming quite inside, almost, dare I say it, Jason McGovern, one of our own, almost like a number 10 at times. He was coming in quite narrow. And I felt that gave us something slightly different when Southampton went 1-0 up, and they thought, right, okay, let's condense play and let's keep Tottenham in front of us almost. They couldn't handle us because of the movement, because of the change, because of the way we were, and I was very, very impressed with that.
Absolutely. Rich, has come over to you. Unfortunately, you have to just dissect the first goal of the game. Obviously, not the one we want to talk about, but it is one that did unfortunately happen to take Southampton into the lead. It was actually a really super finish from Ward-Prowse. He volleyed home at Gineppo's cross from 18 yards, as Tobi mentioned earlier. But it was actually a bit sloppy from Tottenham, the actual way we defended that, because I think Conte will not have been happy at all at the way the player was allowed to almost be able to be given the time to apply that finish. Is that a bit of a lesson learned for us on the day? I mean, again, it kind of peers into insignificance now because of the nature of Spurs winning by 4-1, a decent, obviously, goal difference there already. But just a warning that, again, going to Stamford Bridge next week, going to have to be on our A game, aren't we? We're dealing with top players, regardless of Chelsea's financial situation. They've got players that can still hurt us in that squad.
Ward-Prowse got lucky today. I mean, he's driven that into the ground, and that bounce has just sort of beaten Lloris in goal. So it wasn't even a well-taken goal as such. Yes, it was a little bit sloppy. We sat off of him, gave him way too much time. And, yeah, it did serve as a little bit of a wake-up call. But as we know, football isn't a science. It's chaos. There's no exact science to it. There's no, you can't put a slide rule on it and measure it. You do get these things that happen in games. And Ward-Prowse is he's hit a volley into the deck and it's just bounced up and it's just gone in. And that's the chaos of football. So we are going to concede a few goals in that way. I'd be more worried if we actually gave a goal away whereby it was clinically finished. Do you get where I'm coming from? It was there was that football chaos element to it, and that's all they got today. That was it. That it was just a little bit of football chaos. And you know what? This season we may well lose a game at home or away. There'll be a few times where that happens, where the chaos of football just dictates and the gods are a little bit against you. So I wasn't too worried about that goal actually, because other than that, they didn't really create too much.
It was
nothing that
yeah,
was.
I mean, that was
the
completely
pure
against the run of play, wasn't
science.
it? Completely against the run of play, the goal.
Exactly. It was against the run of play.
Yeah.
They didn't create anything where you could look at it and go, "Oh, do you know what? We was really sloppy there, and we gave him the time, and he set it up, and he's put it away like really, really well." That was just one of those chaos goals, and that's all we gave away today. So it really wasn't too much of a worry, but we knew Ward-Prowse would score. You could have probably cleaned up with the bookies today off the back of that, couldn't you? It was so, but again, like we were saying at the top of the show, when we went 1-0 down like that, the mentality, this up here, the 80% of where football's played, we would have been going, oh no, now we're under it, and we'd have started sitting back, and we'd have started seeing the onslaught. But no, there was a calmness. There was this that arrogance again of, okay, right, that's what you're going to do. Now come and deal with this. And we blew them away from there. Absolutely blew them away. So we didn't even give a football goal away today. We just gave one of those chaos goals away. You know, they've got something out of nothing. So that's really, really pleasing to see, Rick.
Absolutely.
I can't even remember. Just quickly, Rick, I can't even remember. I mean, there was 2 shots on target from Southampton. One, obviously, that went in the back of the net, and the other one, I can't remember. I've got the stats back up here. I can't even remember Lloris making. Obviously, he did, but I don't remember him making another save.
Yeah, he made a save in the second half from a rebound. A rebound in the second half.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that means literally, you see it there again. I have to keep referring to that. The XG there, the 0.48. I mean, that in itself tells you it's an indictment, really, of just a lack of creation from Southampton today. It was all one-way traffic, and again, that backed up by the possession stats there, it tells you it. I mean, Tobes coming around to you. We will come back around to Lee. But Tobes, strong response from Spurs, only behind for 10 minutes. And at Sessegnon, that's where I want to see him today, his goal. You want to see him in the box, ready to take advantage of opportunity. And you know what? I just wonder already whether Perisic, and he's actually said it, Conte, he's already rubbing off on someone like Ryan Sessegnon, young kid, that for me, there's still that hesitancy and a lack of varying confidence in his game, Tobe, at times. But, you know, hopefully this is the start of a new Ryan Sessegnon now, one that really a goal was out of the Conte playbook to some degree. Beautiful delivery from Kulusevski today, as we've all remarked, probably our man in the match. And then he got round the back actually of Kyle Walker-Peters, got really round the back of him. And, you know, it's funny because he had a chance a couple of minutes ago, which really annoyed him. You could tell that he missed it. He wasn't going to take up on this opportunity. Tony put it away.
Yeah, definitely. He even came out with a press conference and he said it, and I'll read it here. He says, because on Sky Sports News, he said, if I hadn't scored that, I think he would have killed me. I think he was referring to either Perisic or Kulusevski. He said there was a moment earlier and I arrived too late. I couldn't arrive too late the next time. I want to learn a lot from Perisic. He has helped me a lot already. And listen, I don't want to speak too negatively on Cess after he's played well today, but we have to be frank. Like, he's at a stage now where we need him to. It's a big season.
It has to be a season. Absolutely.
Exactly. We need him. We need him to deliver now. So this will be Sessegnon's. This will be his 4th season at the club now. Obviously, one of those seasons he went out on loan. He's been given the trust by Conte. He's been shown the love by Conte. The club are going to prioritize him. I'm fairly certain he's going to sign a new deal because he's got 2 years left in his contract. It's clear to see that we believe that he has a successful future ahead of him at Spurs. I mean, we as in the club. So everything is going in his way now, where you now have to take this opportunity and you need to give us more performances like that. You've got Perisic, who can be the older influence, who can help sharpen your offensive quality. You've got Antonio Conte, who can teach you the fundamentals of what you need to do playing in a wing-back role with a Conte system. You've got the love of the team now. He needs to now go on and seize this opportunity. I liked what I saw from Cess today. I really did. I felt going forward, he was always providing an outlet. And I think when you watch how we attack, the wing backs are fundamental. And I think what crippled us last season was the fact that we got pretty much no offensive quality from our wing backs, from Reguilon or from Cess or from Emerson or from Doherty up until the last couple of games in the season. So they're going to be a big part of how we play. They help stretch the width and they help contribute to the attack. We attack with our wing backs. So for me, it's imperative that our wing backs actually start contributing in the final third. And I'm happy to see that Sessegnon is not only arriving in the right positions in the box, but even when he's getting opportunities now, he's finding them back in the net. I'm sorry, I have to harp back onto that goal that was ruled out offside because it was brilliant. It was brilliant taken.
And isn't that confidence, Tobi? You know, I bet you if you hadn't scored the one a couple of minutes before that, or obviously in the first half, we would not have seen that. But interestingly, coming out from Sky Sports, obviously Lyle Thomas been on Last One Spurs numerous times. Lyle honestly just came out and said that Ryan Sessegnon went for a 2-week training camp with boxer Dan Lawrence, which is quite interesting. He went on to say that he was in Portugal before returning to training. Now, I think we got a bit of intel from Last One on Spurs. I think he put on something about 4 kilo in muscle mass, Ryan Sessegnon. So he's really bulked up over the summer, and good on him.
Rick, I have to say, with Ryan Sessegnon, it wasn't what he's done today, it's what he done in pre-season. He's totally bought in to what Antonio Conte is trying to get across to this team and this club. And he's gone and grasped it. And that whole pre-season, there he was, working his arse off. I mean, like properly working his arse off. He's been to camps, as you said. He put on 4 kilo of muscle and he's worked in the right areas. And then all that hard work, it wasn't today. It's what he's done. He's done those hard yards in those weeks. And that's what you have to do to be an Antonio Conte player. And that's the difference between being an also-ran and a champion. It's as simple as that. So Ryan Sessegnon, you have to hold him up as an absolute shining example of what you need to be a winner and to be an Antonio Conte player. So fair play to him, because it's very easy when you're on 100. I mean, he's probably on 100 grand a week and some. So you can slide off to Ibiza, or you can slide off to here and there. I mean, you can do that, or you can go and do the hard yards and come back at the start of the season and be a machine. And it showed today. It absolutely showed. So, absolute hats off to the boy for putting that effort in that pre-season and doing what he's done. And it showed today. He was different class today. Absolutely, it was a different Ryan Sessegnon to what we've seen.
I agree. I think that's probably one of the most influential performances I've seen him in a Spurs shirt so far. And I agree with Tobes that it's all right doing it in one game. We now need to see it over the course of the season, and then we'll see where he's at. Because I agree with Tobes. It's a big season for him in general now. We want to see if Conte can match up. Sessegnon can match up to the level where Conte wants him to be and needs him to be. We want him to be on that same level, really, as Perisic. That's a big, obviously, ambition and a statement, but we need that kind of quality. Lee, to come round to you, I want to talk about one of your favourite players who you keep always rubbing it in my face and won't let me forget, Eric Dier. Brilliant finish from him today after 82 appearances. Eric Dier finally scores another Premier League goal for Spurs. It's his first since scoring against Everton on the 12th of May, 2019. And I've got to say, his defending was on point throughout. And as I say that, we're just losing Lee on his favourite player. You can't make that up. We'll try and get Lee back. Practice come round to you, Eric Dier.
there's some Spanish internet for you, isn't there?
What a deviation that was, though. What a deviation. I've gone quickly a right wing back and switched over. Overall, Rich, Eric Dier.
Eric, again, there's another player. You look at pictures of Eric from a couple of seasons ago, and he literally looks like me. He's got there's a little bit of chin now. There's a little bit of cheeks going on. Now look at him. He's another one.
Another one ripped to pieces.
Another one you could grate cheese on. There's not many players in that team now you cannot grate cheese on. He's bought into it, but he's in defence. Previously, he was in midfield. Then he was the defender. Then he was back in midfield. Then he was kind of doing this, kind of doing that. Now he's just sat in that back three. And he sits alongside Romero, the absolute Rolls Royce. Well, I'll tell you what, if Romero's a Rolls Royce, Dier is a Bentley. and there's not much to choose between the pair of them.
People might laugh, but he has really improved, Dier. I'd have Tobes.
No, he's improved. I don't know about
Massive.
Bentley, but listen, I'm all for giving Eric Dier credit because I think right now it took me a long time to give him credit last season.
I'm the same as you, Tobes. I wasn't ever sure if. I'll be honest. This time last season, I wasn't ever sure if he was going to make it because I still feel there was that mistake in his game where I was never convinced he was going to be able to get that erratic nature out of his game. But to be fair, I mean, I would be one of those people now that would be saying we need to get him a new contract. Would you go as far as that, Tobes?
I think he's proven that. I think he's proven over the past sort of like year or so that he can mix it at this level with the squad. I don't know. Me personally, I would always want Spurs long term to get an upgrade to the likes of Dier and Davies. But I think right now you can't question Eric Dier starting for Spurs. I don't think you can question it at all. I think he's justified. He's justified in his starts. Conte clearly backs him, and I think if he was to sign a new contract now, similar to Ben Davies, nobody can say it's not been deserved. I think the situation is similar to last time. I mean, the situation is quite dissimilar to the last time he had a new contract, because the last time he had a new contract, it didn't, in my opinion, I was upset because I didn't think he deserved one. I felt like he's come off the back of a injury hit campaign where he's not really played, and when he was playing, he was quite poor. And then they just gave him a new contract out of the blue. But this one, I don't think you can complain if Eric Dier signs a new deal now. I think he's proven that he's quite an important player to our defense currently as it stands. And he's proven that he's someone who Antonio Conte can work with.
Absolutely. We will let Lee have his chance on Eric Dier, but just conscious of time, it is Saturday night. We want to make sure we get everybody away for a match of the day as well. We have to discuss Christian Romero today. Again, do you know what? He seems to always crack. He seems to always kind of tread between that line, Christian Romero, of really, being on edge. I mean, there was a tackle that he made, obviously, during the game where my heart was in my mouth thinking, okay, I mean, at one point I thought it's dangerous going in like that. But I mean, I think Romero is all or nothing, isn't he? To pardon, obviously, what we were discussing at the start with the documentary and the earbuds and They Never Walk Alone. The reality is that Romero, I don't think will ever change. I think he'll always be like that. Do you agree?
Rick, there's some players that are just like that. Gaza was like that. Wayne Rooney was like that. There's players that just play on the edge. And I don't think you're ever going to knock that out of Romero. And nor do you want to. I think we'll probably lose him a couple of times this season to a red card. But I think you just have to put up with that because that's his mentality. That's the type of person he is. So, with Romero, he will give you some absolutely wonderful moments, but don't be surprised if you see a red card or two either. And I don't mind that in a player. I don't. If you try to calm him down and control him and focus him in a different way, I think you lose what you get when you've got him. So, like when he gets suspended for a red card, so be it. Then we have to. That's where we need this squad. Somebody else needs to come in for those 2 or 3 games we might lose him for. But he's always on the edge, Rick. Yep. He's just
and I think he'll always dance on that edge, Rich, because I think that's the best he likes to play the game.
Exactly that. But when he dances on that edge and gets it right, wow. Yeah. But when he crosses that line, you're gonna have to live with it. It's as simple as that. He is just one of those players, and there's no point throwing your hands in the air and throwing your eyes up in the air and going, I knew that was going to happen. It is going to happen. But as I said, when it hasn't happened and he's playing, you're going to get an absolute Rolls Royce out of him. It's as simple as that. Over to you, Lee.
Yeah, I think I will say to Lee, we've just been talking about obviously Eric Dier. Obviously, feel free to bring your thoughts on him. Obviously, Romero. Just what I want to say to Lee, to come over Lee on Romero, is I think the minute you try and take the devilment out of Romero's game, we're not going to have the same player. So I think you have to let him be with what he is and deal with the fact that he will play on the edge. But listen, he's played on the edge for the last however many months. He played on the edge all throughout the back end of the second half of the season where he knew had he get a booking, it would have ruled him out of a number of games, and he managed that. So, Lee, just thoughts very quickly on those two, and we'll bring on to Ben Davies in a minute as well.
Look, I think Eric Dier. I mean, I've been championing him last season anyway, as you know, Rick. As I won my.
Don't remind me much, mate.
Bet that we have
Jesus.
with each other. No, for sure. But look, no, I think he's been outstanding. I think he's been a rock. I think he's really learnt that passing ability as well. That little deft header. It was a little deft header, wasn't it? It was a lovely little header to score the second goal today. I think Romero, we've seen them all before. We've seen the Rooneys, we've seen the Dele Allis before. You know, you can't. You know, we've seen the Eric Cantonars. These types of players are.
That's a great shout, Lee. He's a Cantonar, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is a Cantonar.
Exactly, mate. You have to let them be. You can't try and take them out. I remember everybody having the same conversation about Wayne Rooney. Like the same conversation about Eric Cantona. Same conversations to a certain with Dele Alli. As soon as you start to temper, or I think that's the right word, temper whatever it is that Romero's got, that's when you start losing the player. So look, if he gets sent off, he gets sent off. But you like Cracker said, you stomach it and you go again, because he will do 80, 90% of the time, he would do better than what he will do when he gets sent off. So you just got to stomach that for me. You can't take that fire out of his belly.
Yeah, need to stick with you. Just obviously time pressing against us. Just want to give you an opportunity to talk about Emerson Royale. And before you, obviously, Ben Davies again today, must very quickly mention, didn't really put a foot wrong, played ever so well. I know many people were saying maybe let's see Longley on his debut. But listen, Ben Davies, as he's shown throughout last season, been so consistent, been great. And been great.
He's unfashionable, isn't he? Like let's have it out. Let's have it right. This elephant in the room. He's unfashionable, isn't he? People don't like the fact that it's Ben Davies, right? But he was absolutely outstanding last year. No one can tell me any different. Right at me if you want. The names on the screen. You can do that if you want, because the reality of the situation is he was outstanding last year, and he also didn't put a foot wrong again today. I thought he was excellent. And for me, Conte's saying to everyone else that 6 new signings, none of them started, and he's turning around to them, he's saying, "You've got to get in this team. This team smashed Norwich on the last game of the season, 5-0. We smashed Arsenal like 2 games before that, or game before that. Like, you've got to earn the right to get into this team, not just walking in it. So Barcelona, you've been there for 2 years, not really been getting in the squad, and just because you're French, you're coming into the squad. No, Ben Davies, outstanding. You've got to earn your, and he wasn't even fit up until 2 days ago.
No, we must make that point. It's a great point. Yeah,
Lee, do you know what Ben Davies is? He's the Ralph Lauren polo shirt and the pair of jeans in your wardrobe, isn't he? He's just there. And you can put it on and you can go to the pub or you can go out for a meal, and that is it. He is a pair of Levi's and a Ralph Lauren polo shirt.
Reliable Ralph in the wardrobe. Reliable Ralph.
Reliable Ralphie.
He is Tottenham's Dave, as the Chelsea fans call Asper. I can't even say his name. That's why they all call him Dave. That's the man, Tobi. He is our Dave, isn't he? That is the reality. He's don't put a foot wrong. He's solid. What is he, Rick? 8 out of 10. Son.
He's out of 10. No, so I've had to swallow. Yeah, I have to say that he has been that great. Tobi, I know you haven't always been a massive fan of him. I know we called him a Chicken Royale at the start. He then got upgraded to Casino Royale throughout the show. Emerson Royale. Listen, you know what I will say about him today is that the one thing I've always questioned is the fact that why does this guy not go beyond the halfway line, right? This is the thing for me. Yeah. And today I have seen times where he actually looked like he was transformed as an attacking threat from last season. I know people will laugh at me. It's only one game and it is only Southampton. And I get that. And again, if it went their way, he'd probably be the one out of the 3 they would want to be sold as a right wing back. But I will say, Tobi, you know this. You've had some horrendous fullbacks in the past. Yeah. I don't think I put Emerson in that category of being horrendous defensively, because I've got to be honest with you, when I've watched him, I don't think defensively he's been that bad. I think he's been quite solid. I think the thing that really aggravates fans, and me in particular, is the lack of composure and end product going forward. That's always been my frustration, that he gets beyond the halfway line and it's almost like he's going into a completely different game other than football. He just does know doesn't know what to do. But I can't sit here and say that he's poor defensively. Yes, attacking wise hasn't offered enough, but today, if he plays like that every week, would you be happy enough to keep him, or are you still very much unsure on it?
To be honest, I'll be real. I would love for Spurs to sell him. I would love for Spurs to sell him because I just think we're at a stage now where, like, I'm asking myself, why do we have to wait for Emerson to become the right back we need? Like, why can't we just accept that he isn't what we need, and we just go buy someone else? So me personally, if the opportunity presents itself, I still think Spurs should be looking to move him on this summer because I just don't think he's good enough. But I do actually agree with you, Ricky, in terms of what you said about his defending. I don't think he's a great defender. I think when he's up against, I don't think he's a great defender, but I do think that his best performances in the Spurs shirt for us have been really good defensive performances. I look back on games like Aston Villa last season, even Chelsea when we lost 3-0 last year. He was really good defensively. Last season against Liverpool, really good. Arsenal, really good in the home fixture as well. So I think he's shown that he can be a competent defender, but I feel like at times he just does some crazy things in the football pitch. But again, I don't really want to be sat here going at him when he's actually putting a decent performance today. So I'll talk on his performance today. I felt today defensively he was assured, and I think going forward, at least, even though the final ball wasn't always the best, he at least provided us much more of a threat than we've become used to with Emerson. And I think he played his part in the third goal as well. Driving with the ball the way he did. Driving with the ball the way he did, and then making the run beyond, I think it was either Kane or Son, making the run beyond the guy who had the ball just to give them an option.
Something we haven't seen him do really, Tobes, as well. Something we haven't really seen him do. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like the fact that at the very least he's joining the attack there. And if he can play his part in goals, then cool. And the club decide to keep him, then I guess I won't complain as much if he's giving us better performances or performances similar to today.
No, that's absolutely fair. Lee, coming around to you, constant time, mate. Feel free to throw in your comments there about Royale, but I just want to talk about this comical goal to put Spurs 3-1 up. It was a terrible defending from Salisu under no real pressure. Now, it will be one of those that you used to see back on the own goals and gaffs videos that were around back in the day. Unfortunately,
goals and gaffs.
Remember that? Remember goals and gaffs? Remember that, Lee, back in the day? It's funny because Salisu conceded a penalty and was sent off against us back in December of 2021. And it was almost like he had Spurs to win by three clear goals at one point. You thought it must have been an acca on here. It was that bad. And after the game, I mean, Hasenhüttl, I don't know if you've seen Hasenhüttl. He's really thrown him under the bus, Hasenhüttl. He was asked about the goal that was conceded, about his performance. This is simply not good enough at this level. What do you make of that from the manager, Lee? That's his manager.
Well, he's speaking the truth, like Toby.
Yeah, he is.
Us tonight, he's speaking the truth, mate. Like that is the reality. Like it wasn't good enough. Like you're absolutely right to bring that up. Like in December. I remember I was away actually. I was watching the game and they went down to 10 men because Salisu got sent off. Didn't I was thinking, here we go. That's going to be 3 points. We couldn't break him down. And today he's gifted us one again. To be honest, today. So look, I mean, I think that. I don't know if Emerson gets credited for an assist on that because it was an own goal, but ultimately it was a kind of inverted commas Emerson assist. I don't know, but look, I mean, it was comical, but more that we created that comedic defending rather than they did it themselves. I mean, we were well on top throughout the whole game. Even when we went 1-0 down, we were still on top type thing, and the stats prove that. So I think that we got what we deserved, mate. To be fair,
just to confirm, Emerson does get credited with that assist.
Does he?
There you go. Well, good luck to him, very much so. Boys, we have to talk about Kulusevski. It's mad. We've got to an hour and 10 minutes of the podcast, and we've briefly touched upon what a wonderful performance it was from Kulu. Definitely man the match. For Spurs, it was 2 goals in very quick succession. Rich, to come around to you. Højbjerg to Royale, pulling it back to Kulusevski, 3 inside the box. And, it's almost becoming almost this Kulusevski-esque finish now. It's the left foot. It's a kind of delicate, beautiful ball curling into the bottom corner. He's grabbed his first assist of the season by cutting in, as we've said. But, incredible. 9 goals, 14 assists for Kulusevski. I mean, he only come to the club in January, Rich. I mean, how much do we need to maybe keep our feet on the ground, but at the same time be really, really excited, as Frankie Major says, that we've got one of the best attacking players in the Premier League? I mean, arguably world football, just how well he's adapted to one of the toughest leagues in the world.
Due diligence, Rick. Here's a boy that's 14 years old, leaves Sweden, goes to live in Italy on his own, not with his parents, on his own. Gets slung into state school in Italy. We've read the interview with him, picked up the language. When again, he's done the hard yards as a person. Footballers are people. People seem to forget this. Footballers are people. And if you can look at their background, it's like Modric. Modric went through some absolutely horrendous years during the war in the Balkans. He saw some things that kids shouldn't see. But do you know what? That toughens you up, as horrible as that is. And Kulusevski's the same. He left and went to Italy at 14 years old. He's a man at 22 years old. He's a mature adult man. There you go. Kieran Plummer, Kulu looking like Robin. He really is.
And what a player Robin was. What a player he was.
Exactly. If he can get anywhere near Robin, Arjun Robin, wow.
We will be in a title race. If he can get anywhere near him, we will be right up there for a conversation. 100%.
But this is what you've got with Kulusevski. Like, we've done our due diligence on a player as a person. And that's where we've lacked sometimes when we've signed players. So there's a 22-year-old that's more or less like he's like a 52-year-old. He's been through mentally, the yards mentally. Yeah. So he's got it in his locker to be able to deal with all this. And he's taken all those hard yards in his early teenage years and he's put it into his football. And
superb.
Honestly, Rick, I have not even got the words for Kulusevski as a player. He has come in and he's absolutely smashed it to bits. It's as simple as that. And he's a steal. He's an absolute find, and he is a steal. It's as simple as that. But the thing is, as he gets bigger and bigger and grows in his reputation, his maturity will deal with that. He will not get above his station. Listen, I don't like to talk bad, but Dele Alli, he never had that sort of background. And when that came for him, he couldn't deal with it. He couldn't handle it because he never had them hard yards when he was a kid, or he never had that family around him to deal with that. This is a lad at 22 that's already a man, a proper adult man. So whatever comes his way, he will deal with it mentally. Yeah. And if he deals with that off the pitch, you'll see the rewards on the pitch. And we're seeing it now. I love him. Absolutely love him.
Yeah, amen. Completely to that. Lee, just to give your thoughts, and we'll go to Tobi as well. And Decky says, I love how this team is playing because we create a lot of chances. The fans are enjoying it. I like playing. I've missed playing. It's so nice to be back in front of the fans and the family. And I really enjoyed it. And you referred to the word family there. It really, you can see that now. You know, the Pochettino in that prime period, talk about Tobes earlier, there was that family element now. And we are going back to that almost feeling that everybody actually enjoys playing for the football club. Everybody actually enjoys being in each other's company. And you can see it now in terms of the way they're playing, the way they're interchanging, the way they're communicating, both off the field, on the field. It's a real joy to watch. And obviously, we just can't stop smiling at the moment, right? I know it's early days. We've got to keep our feet on the ground, but it bodes with so much excitement, Lee.
I think the thing that sums up Decky for me is when he first comes to the club and he says, I want to be beasted. I want to work hard. I love it. I want to get I want to be battered. You know, all of them fit. And I just thought, wow, I like this guy straight away. And you can tell the context.
Mentality.
The mentality, the attitude. There's a lot of people saying, I remember when he made his debut, I think it was first 20 minutes, and Twitter was going mad saying he can't run. It looks like he's running in treacle.
20-minute conclusion. It was a 20-minute conclusion.
Any of you watching or listening that were people were saying that, go and have a look at yourselves in the mirror.
Facts.
It's a disgrace. So you look at him now and you just think, wow, was it 8 assists, 5 goals and 8 assists, I think, last year. I think he joined us on January the 31st. So it was only February, March, April, May that he played for us. He scored again today. He was absolutely brilliant. What strikes me the most about him, and Tobes, I want to bring you in on that as well, is that we all know as fans he's primarily left-footed and he loves to cut in on his left foot. So if we know that, the players know that. And if the players know that, the opposition know that. It still works. Like he's got a magic wand, didn't he, of a foot, and it's mad. Like he's gonna cut inside and just ping one in, and he did it again today. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He was my man of the match, and I absolutely love the fellow. I totally echo everything the Cracker said about the bloke. Yeah,
Tobe's giving you an opportunity on Decky. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. He's brilliant, man. I feel like with Kulusevski, his decision making is unreal, and it's one thing that I've noticed from the minute he's sort of actually been able to grab that right wing spot. Like his decision making is crazy. Whenever he gets into good positions, you trust him at least 8 or 9 out of 10 times to find the right man or to make the right pass. He knows when to shoot. He knows when to cross. He knows when to make runs beyond Harry Kane. He knows when to come short to get the ball to feet. He knows when he needs to go on the outside and use his right foot. He knows when he needs to come in on the inside, use his left foot. He's just a brilliant player. And I think with Kulusevski, like Crackers mentioned, like not just the fact that from a maturity aspect, he's probably much more mature than most 22-year-olds are, but from a footballing aspect, his football IQ is far beyond the age of 22 years old. He's so intelligent. You notice that no matter which right wing back is playing with him, they always build up an understanding with him because he's the clever one. He makes it work with Emerson. He made it work with Doherty. He's going to make it work with Jet Spence. He's just an intelligent player. And the technical quality as well. He's got the perfect blend. Physically, he's tall, he's strong, he's a powerful runner. He's deceptively fast. He may not be rapid, but he's got way more pace than people suggest. And his delivery and execution in the final third. Look at that ball that he gave to Sessegnon for the first goal. Look at the pass that he slid to Sessegnon for the chance that got blocked for a corner. He's just brilliant. He's brilliant. And I love the fact that even though he's got an amazing left foot, he's not afraid to use his weaker foot. He'll go on the outside. And today he even found Son with a cross on his right foot that could have potentially ended up in a goal. He's a brilliant player, and he's so robust as well. He rarely gets injured. Usually available.
He's big, he's strong, he's like an ox. So and to the rest of the panel as well, like viewers and listeners. Quite interesting to see. Like he had a question, I think, when he was out in Israel from Ali Gold, friend of the show, and asked him about when they interviewed him, asked him about his best position and that sort of stuff. And he mentioned about a 10 and mentioned about even right wing back. But I'd quite like to see him at some stage on the left, because to be able to whip them balls in with his left foot rather than cutting inside, I wonder what sort of impact that would make. And I think that's what makes the Conte playbook, or the Conte ball, as you like to call it, Rick, very, very interesting, because you've got a Richarlison and a Son and a Kane and a Kulusevski, a Lucas Moura across that front, a Zaniolo, if we sign him, across 6 of them across that front 3, which you can almost interchange. Like, as a defender, how are you going to deal with that? Like, all of a sudden you've got Kulusevski on the right, and then he's popping up on the left. You've got Son coming through in the middle, Kane dropping deep. This is a nightmare, isn't it, Rick, for opposition defenders, no?
I totally agree. I'm fascinated to see, obviously, again, we've touched upon it as a 4 here, that obviously the more goals he scores, the higher his profile's going to go. Like every player, he's going to start getting double marked. He's going to start having a lot more focus on him from the opposition. I back what Cracker said. I think he's of the mentality where his maturity is already ready for that next level. But I am intrigued to see how he is going to change up his game, because we've seen it before with Son, with Kane. The top class players still find a way to score goals, to create goals, to be part of the team. And that's why I'm really excited to see just what the nature of he's going to become. Because to start the way he started, when you think about the fact Spurs have brought Richarlison in, who was suspended, and he puts in a performance like that, you know, Richie might be on the bench for a while, and that's great for the squad. It's great for competition. It will be. Yeah, and this is what I mean. It's great for the squad. It's great for the squad because next week now, next week in training, Rashard's going to be working his absolute backside off to try and get in that team for Stamford Bridge. He's going to want to make his debut. He's going to want to go to the Bridge. But on the back of that,
when he does come on, Rick, he'll probably do some proper bits.
Exactly, because he's desperate to show he wants to be part of it. We're in a really fortunate position for a first time where we've actually strengthened an area of strength, and that is why it's so exciting. Contra time, we're going to touch upon some of the other performances really quickly. I mean, Højbjerg today, listen, he dominated some of those midfield battles. He worked really hard against his former club. As we discussed, Bentancur, I've said it again, I think from the outside looking in, he's very much underrated. But again, he's already becoming a fan's favourite, Rodrigo Bentancur, as Lee flashes there, the shirt. Tobe, just want to get your thoughts on Harry Kane today. It was more of a quieter performance from Kane. Anything to worry about there, or is it just a case that he's finding his feet? He had such an explosive pre-season. Should we be happy that we've got the goals being shared out from 2 wing-backs, an own goal? And
Yeah. That's what I'm taking from it. Listen, like Harry Kane, we'll call a spade a spade. He was poor today, in my opinion. He was really poor. But the good news about Harry Kane is, outside of that weird period he had last year when between August through to December, where he was a bit disillusioned with life at Spurs, Harry Kane rarely has games like he did today. And we all know that notoriously he does start some seasons slow. Harry Kane has been doing this at the highest level for way too long for me to worry about a poor performance in our opening game against Southampton. Kane is going to be Kane. For all we know, he'll probably be back to normal levels next week, but it was just a bad day in the office for Harry Kane. But like you said, I'm looking more towards the positive. The fact that the so-called Harry Kane team can have him play poorly and we still smash 4 goals in, because what were people saying towards the end of last season?
Well, it's a Harry Kane team.
Exactly.
Again.
Sit on Harry Kane and you stop Spurs, etc., etc. Well, Kane didn't play well today, and what happened?
Yeah, and it's interesting coming around to you, Rich. Son, to be fair as well. I mean, I think it was quite dangerous in the first half. And what I will say about Son today is I still think he always looked the threat, but I can't argue about it. Had a very quiet second half. But should we be taking happiness from the fact, Rich, we've got players that are obviously part of the squad that are stepping up when they need to? Because I tell you what, teams that are trying to vie for the title or cement their place in the top 4 to maybe put down the expectation a little bit, you need goals from all around the squad. And I feel Spurs actually might have that for once in a decent season. Now, we had it last season to some degree. We've got Richarlison to contribute. We've got Decky to contribute. We've got Bentancur, Højbjerg, Dier, Sessegnon throughout the squad. Perisic as well. We must have Basuma. We've barely seen him yet. I mean, should we be excited by the fact, Rich, that it was maybe a couple of underwhelming performances today from Kane and Son?
It's exactly that, Rick. Teams that win stuff pull goals out of those positions that are not traditionally the goal scorers. Yeah, that's where you win stuff. Thing.
I must just correct myself. Actually, it was a beautiful assist from Son, and thank you, Jordan, for reminding me. It was a beautiful assist from Son for Dier. We shouldn't overlook that. He did obviously have a chance. He nearly should have set up a Kane goal in the first half, as David says there. But again, we're not going to get away from the fact Kane and Son were below what their normal level is. But I think it's excitement, Rich, isn't it?
They are. Yeah, exactly. And when other players step up and bring you 4 goals, even the own goal, that's come because you're putting so much pressure on the team. So that's where it's come from. You're peppering them. Their heads all over the place. And he couldn't sort his feet out and turned a goal in. So this is exactly what wins you stuff. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's going to be a league, but that's the sort of thing that wins you a cup. If he turns an own goal in like that in the 5th round of the FA Cup and you win it 2-1, you're through to the next round.
Yep.
So this is what teams that win stuff always do. Look at any team that won stuff down the years. When Arsenal were winning stuff, when Man U were winning stuff, they had goals from all over the pitch. And if your traditional top 2 up top are not banging them in, you get them from other places. And that is exactly what is the difference between winning stuff and not winning stuff. Yeah. So, listen, Kane's quality is world class. It's as simple as that. I'm denied whether he was world class. He is world class. Son gets into every team in Europe. Absolutely gets into any team in Europe. Not just on his commercial viability, but just on his actual ability. So at some stage, the pair of them are going to click and they're going to start firing. When they do, and those around them, like today, like Dier nicking one, and like Kulusevski nicking you a goal, and Sessegnon nicking you a goal, all of a sudden, 4 goals become 6 or 7. So no worries at all. If everybody else around those traditional front two are nicking goals, that's the difference. Hugely the difference. Even from this weekend, Liverpool got a draw. We've got a win. And it's as simple as that. If you take that forward into every week, all of a sudden, you're points ahead of teams like that. So brilliant. They will click. They will start firing. I've got absolutely no worries about them two whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of close this part of the show, Ivan Perisic, we saw him for 24 minutes. Again, he was solid down the left. Didn't really see much in terms of end product, but again, early days. We then saw a whole host of subs: Lucas Longley, Basuma, Doherty, replacing Davis, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Emerson. We then obviously saw standing ovation for Cesc, and well deserved to him. Basuma coming on, he did pick up a yellow card, a missed time tackle. Again, we have to also appreciate that he may be suffering from long COVID. We have to know, you have to obviously recognise that it's not been too long ago he did pick up COVID. Matt Doherty came on for a very short period, very small cameo. Then after the game, contested in his post-match presser on his type of signings. He says, "I'm really happy because we've had new signings going in our process that will help us to improve, but at the same time, they have to know that they have to fight and give me the possibility to rotate. Now 1 game a week, but soon we play every 3 days. The characteristics to play intense modern football, the player has to have quality. It is normal he has the quality, but also he has to be strong physically, a good engine, a stamina, because this league is very, very difficult." So just maybe, again, a warning there from Conte, what's to come. It is going to be every 3 days, which I've just realised on Last One on Spurs means we've got a whole lot of shows coming your way. We really, really have. To close it, thoughts very briefly as we look ahead to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Now, it's quite nice because we're recording on a Saturday here. Chelsea have actually already played this evening. Obviously, they've got off the mark. They've obviously got a win as well. Was it a slender 1-0 win, boys? Confirm for me, slender 1-0 up at Everton there. Penalty.
Very.
It's early.
Very slender.
It's early to preview it because, of course, it's next week. A lot can happen in a week in terms of injuries, in terms of the footballing world, in terms of transfers as well. But let's go to you, Tobes. We look to close the show. Tobes, a brief look ahead to next week. We'll be doing a show on it ourselves ahead of next week. But what do you want to see from Tottenham going into that Stamford Bridge fixture? Maybe from mentality rather than looking at the team.
I want to see competitiveness. I want to see us flex our muscles on Chelsea, because far too many times we go to Stamford Bridge, we lose our heads, we lose our quality, we forget to play football, and we just get overawed by the occasion. Chelsea are going to raise their game against Spurs. Make no doubt about that. I don't think the Chelsea you saw this week, you're going to see next week. And we need to match them. We need to play with the same level of enthusiasm and quality that they will throw it our way. We may not have the personnel that they have man for man, but we have more than about ourselves. We have more than enough within ourselves to go there and make it a difficult day for them. Both make it a difficult game, both in terms of them breaking us down and in terms of also our attack breaching their defense. So I just want to see us be competitive, go there and give a good account for yourselves and see what result you can get.
Absolutely. And Tobe, just to close it, I mean, listen, it's been a wonderful debut. Thank you so much for your time on here. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll be trying to get you on Last One on Spurs more often this season. Where can everybody find the wonderful work you do on YouTube? Where can they find you across the socials?
Yeah, literally tap in Tobes on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm like 900 people or subscribers away from 10K. So yeah, just hit me up on the YouTube. It's just one word, TAPINTOBS. I'm also available on Twitter as well. Follow me on Twitter. I'm also available on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram, and I'm also part of Touchline Fracker as well. So Touchline Fracker, they got a Twitter account. Follow me on there as well.
Tobes, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time on Last Word Spurs. It's been lovely. We'll look to get Tobes back on throughout the season. Not a bad debut, is it? Come on, win 4-1, Spurs go top of the league.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be trying to get debutants every week if that is the case.
Yeah.
One man you would have heard during the ad breaks has got some great shows coming up, some great Q&As. That we've had a lovely match day underbed to them as well. The wonderful Richard Cracknell. If you're listening on audio, you would have loved you would love the Q&As. We're going to get them every month from Richard as long as we can, and in terms of what's coming up. Rich, we know we had a shit quiz lined up. We're going to ask you to save that for us for Chelsea next week. We're going to hope to celebrate cheese and crackers and quizzes at the same time. Anything in the diary, Rich, you want to give another mention to that might not be on the underbed? Anything worth mentioning?
First off, I've got to say, what a debut from Tobi, because, listen, don't be a stranger around these parts, Tobe. That was absolutely phenomenal. Some of the points you made and everything, and the way you convey it, absolutely spot on.
Clamoring for you back, so we will get Tobe back
on Last Word on Spurs. Yes, C cubed.
Absolutely.
You know that. So, thank you, Rick, for running the advert. There's events coming up September, October, and November at Mr. Cracknell. I'll put up some adverts for those. And we've got Glenn Oddle and Chrissy Waddle, Ian Holloway. There's so many coming up right across September, October and November. Some brilliant nights out. I know it's tough economical times, but listen, tickets for these nights ain't a lot of money. You come and get to meet people that done bits for Tottenham in the past. Michael Dawson, got nights with him as well. As I said, Ledley King's coming up in Dartford. There's so many. So come along. Come one, come all. You'll have a great night out. So thank you, Rick.
Amazing, thank you. And listen, you've got to keep the audience waiting sometimes. We will have a shit quiz lined up for you for next Sunday. I think Sunday's maybe the night for shit quizzes rather than Saturdays. We're conscious Match of Days coming our way.
Well, as long as Jason ain't on it, because he wins it every bloody week. Get Jason off the damn shit quiz.
What I do love is Greg here on the comment, Ricky, a woman next time or Jason with a wig. Well, I can tell you there will be a woman next time with me and Crackers next week. So we're halfway there. So we'll see what we could possibly do. But Lee's off next week. Lee's booked it off an annual leave. He's got his birthday. Lee, mate, anything you want to let the listeners into know what's happening, or do you just want to keep
I'll tell you what I let the listeners and viewers into. If we beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge next week, I'll probably come on, to be honest. Look, all I'm hoping for, all I want this year, Tottenham Hotspur, all I want this year is a win at Stamford Bridge. That's all I want. It's on my birthday. Yeah. Look, I think we've got an opportunity. I think that it's a massive barometer to see where we are. I totally agree with Tobes. At the end of the day, it's about making sure that we don't go there and give away some ridiculous. Jay says it all the time. It is our hoodoo. We always give away a penalty, or something happens, or a stupid own goal, or just go there and play.
Lee, I'm looking forward to going there next Sunday.
For sure.
When have we ever said that as Tottenham fans? I cannot wait to get there next Sunday.
If anyone has a spare ticket as well, please let me know, because my application was not successful.
374 points. It's high. Yeah, it's high. Look. I'll sign off by saying, look, you know where to find me at Lee McQueen, you know all that stuff. But look, for me, I'm buzzing, absolutely buzzing. And anyone that ain't buzzing needs to have a word with themselves to think to themselves, well, hang on, we have got one of the best managers in the world. We've got probably one of the best front threes, certainly front two
in the world, in Europe, the world,
sure, maybe in the world.
Yeah, Romero, you look at Romero, Dier, Davis, that three as well. Longley to come, Spence to come, Basuma to come.
I don't want to put pressure too much on us, but when Conte comes out and says things like this, and I'll leave you with this, when Conte comes out and says things like this in the press conference, when he said to Bridgie the other week, and Ali Gold and the guys, he said it was actually to Ian Abrahams, wasn't it? When, why not the Premier League? Why not the Champions League? And he said it with jest. He weren't joking. This geezer wants to win the league. Do not even worry about it and start believing, Tottenham fans, because we are in the seat. We are here, and we're going to be here for the duration. So come on, you Spurs. That's all.
What a way to end it. What a way to end it. Guys, listen, there's been over 1,000, 1,200 of you watching us live tonight across all of our platforms. Thank you so much. Saturday night, but you still tuning for Last Word on Spurs. From the wonderful Toby, coming on for a debut and leaving Spurs top of the league. Not bad, is it? It won't be like that every week, I promise you. It won't be like that every week.
If
Top
Carlsberg
stuff,
did
Toby, top
debuts, if
stuff.
Carlsberg did debuts. Yeah.
That'll be the one. That'll be
Love
the
it.
one. From the wonderful Lee McQueen. Lee's back with us very soon. He is meant to be off next, but you heard it there first from Lee. If Spurs smash Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you might get a surprise appearance. And back with me next week. I'm delighted to have him back with me. I've got the wonderful Richard Cracknell. You're going to be hearing even more insight from. And yes, it's a Sunday. We will have a quiz. If Spurs win, we'll see what we can do. If we get smashed 7-0, I'm not sure even Cracks will want to do the quiz.
Hey, hang on. Look, I have one for tonight. I even have one lined up for tonight. The quiz that never was.
But we can say that it's coming back for next week. Guys, thank you so much for your support from the brilliant Toby, from the wonderful Richard Cracknell, from the superb Lee McQueen. Guys, please keep safe, keep well, and as always, come on, you Spurs.